I'm Dan, and this is 10,000 Hours of Indie, a podcast exploring new music and delving deeper into what goes on in the background of the independent music industry. I'm a musician and passionate music lover, and I wanted to delve deeper into new music in the independent scene around the world. I also saw this as a chance to help artists connect and share their stories, so if there's someone you hear and you want to find out more about, every podcast has links in the show description. Get involved, help this community grow, follow on the 10,000 Hours of Indie socials, you can find all the links in the show description. And also feel free to email me about anything music related, 10,000indie@gmail.com. I'm open to any ideas and love listening to your promos. Essex four-piece Bloodwoolf, with two O's, are a brand new band who released their debut self-titled EP in March. Playing something between modern metal and nostalgic 90s rock, they've hit their groove quickly and are already well on their way to their second EP release. I'm chatting with the band's singer Ben. Welcome to the 10,000 Hours of Indie podcast.
Good evening, Daniel. It's a pleasure to be here.
So for a little listener background, I studied drama with Ben back in 1997. It's a long time.
It's our official reunion.
It is, yeah. But I also went to school with Ben Wolf, who is the guitarist in the band.
Mic drop moment. I mean, yeah, I didn't know that.
That's the one I thought was going to surprise you, yeah.
That's coming out of left field there. I'm just like, right. Well, it's a small world and it gets smaller every day, Dan.
Bloodwoolf is actually a pretty good name for a band, I think. Is there a story? Obviously, Wolf is Ben's surname. Is there a story to how you became Bloodwoolf in particular?
It's funny. When we first started, now I'm going to give you our origin story. It's one of my favourite stories. Okay, so about 12 years ago, I walk into a pub in Sudbury because advertised that night is a Tool tribute band. Now, Dan, I don't need to tell you, if you're going to be in a Tool tribute band, you're going to have to play Tool music, yeah? So it's instantly, I'm just thinking, okay, go on then, lads. Let's see what you've got. And in a pub in Sudbury, behind the kit, I kid you not, Ben Wolf is playing Danny Carey rhythms with such precision and just unbelievable perfection. I don't often watch a drummer at work. If I go to a gig, you know, they're just behind the kit. But I was absolutely transfixed by this man's talent. After that, I made a beeline for him. I'm like, dude, that was remarkable. And he thanked me and we got talking. Turned out he wrote songs as well. Ended up sending me some. 12 years later, life goes in different directions and we've been working together, but we've never really been an active band. It became really apparent when we were looking for a name. He is the heart, soul, mind, and just talent behind everything we do. So it kind of became a bit of a homage to him to just like suggest, let's go with Bloodwoolf because you are putting everything you've got. This is you in a band. So it just made sense to go with that. And it's cool. I mean, it's going to look great on a T-shirt when we get it done. I have been asked many times if you spelt it differently for a reason, and you just point at the guy. Yeah, him. He's the reason we spell it that way.
He's the reason we spell it wrong.
It's his fault, yeah.
So how about the other two members? Because obviously you also have a bass player and a drummer that isn't Ben.
We do. Well, there are three Bens in this band, and our bassist, Ben Walther, he came into the band. It's a wonderful story. Again, I'm full of wonderful stories tonight, Dan. You'll like this one. In an effort to get out of the studio, because going a bit stir-crazy, the Wolf actually said, I want to get this out of the room. I want to knock it out. I want to make some noise. So we contact G. Lyons, a drummer from our old band Zool, and say, do you fancy this? Do you like the stuff? Are you interested? And he said, yes, I am, but I've got a favour to ask. So we're thinking, right, we're all in our 40s. He's going to ask me to move a sofa. That's the only thing people ask me to do a favour. Can you help me move this chest of drawers? It turned out the favour he wanted us to do was to open his birthday spectacular nostalgia gig at the Colchester Arts Centre to celebrate his 50th year alive, uniting some of the bands from his past, and he asked us to open the show. So, having not been interested in being an active band, when someone says, do you want to play the Arts Centre? It's like, yes, right now, actually, I do. Right now. One of the best venues in the world. I love it so much. So, that was a no-brainer. So then, bringing in Ben Walther, Wally, our bassist, into the mix, it was just the missing piece in our puzzle. We just had this now sound of, we're all very similar men. We're all family men. We all have full-time jobs. This isn't something we're like, right, let's chase the rock star dream again. Let's make some noise together and love every second. It really did come together. It's been wonderful. And working with the Wolf and working with Wally and working with G, you're just surrounded by, they've been playing most of their life since their teens. So we've all got so much skin in the game that you just think, this really works as a dynamic four-piece. It's just a wonderful thing.
I have to say, from my perspective, this is exactly the kind of music I would expect you to be making, in a good way. But for the podcast's audience, can you sort of give us a description of what category you would put this band in? Because I think it touches on a lot of elements, and I think you're probably better at pinpointing what you think it is.
It's funny, when you're looking at distributing this, you do have to tick some boxes. What kind of genre are we fitting you into? And I've been ticking quite a few boxes. I've always started with rock. Rather than metal, I think rock is a very open term because you've got hard rock, you've got alternative rock, you've got all sorts of different rocks in the world. But rock / metal / alternative, I think really suits what we're actually doing because you said it right from the start. It's heavy, but it's got a lot of influences from us growing up with music. So, you know, I mean, we might talk about it at length at some point, but everyone in this band has an inspiration that's made them want to be what they are in this band. So for the Wolf, from a purely guitar perspective, I mean, the guy is such a huge fan of Ty Tabor from King's X. So it's got that, you know, real muscular groove to it. It's thick, it's instant, it's accessible. He's always loved that. Add to that, you've got the drumming. He's always been absolutely, completely blown away by the talent of Gavin Harrison, who's now working with Pineapple Thief, who, you know, he's worked in Porcupine Tree. These are the bands that the Wolf's grown up with and would count as some of his biggest influences. So how do you kind of put those, the people that mean so much to you that they make you want to be a better musician? Like, you know, you follow that kind of trajectory and it's like, I'm going to make the best music I can. It's going to be heavy because I love heavy music, but it's also going to be melodic because from my perspective, Dan, my biggest inspiration is Seal. I don't think there's a better singer on this planet than Seal. For someone that can lock in a hook within seconds of opening his mouth, that you just feel almost that sense of nostalgia that you've always had that song in your life. I find it absolutely mesmerising. Every time the guy opens his mouth, I just stop what I'm doing and listen to Seal. And then from a different perspective, the bands I grew up with from the grunge scene, we're talking Chris Cornell, Lane Staley, Scott Weiland, Andrew Wood. Everyone had such a tone. You could almost hear their pain, especially in Lane Staley's case. The man sang his pain until it ended his life. And it's just, you get that feeling of wonderful, almost kind of, you're in awe the second someone like that opens their mouth and you just I want to be part of that. I want to be in a heavy band that's got melody, that's got, you know, the aspects of all the things we love. Let's bring them together. And we've done that in our late 40s and we've made the Bloodwoolf. And it's been fantastic. So you would have to say rock, alternative metal.
The first EP, Bloodwoolf, self-titled, came out back in March. It's a 5-track introduction to the band. How did you approach working on this new project with, okay, you've worked with Ben before, I guess you've worked with the others as well, but a different combination of people?
It's the first time really that we've had work to a deadline because we wanted to get this done before our debut gig in April. So it's just like, right, we need to get this done. We need to put the work in and the time, and we need to craft these songs to the best of our ability and work them as a collaboration. Okay, so you're bringing in new people into songs that me and the Wolf have had in our vault for, you know, potentially up to 8 years. Some of this stuff is things we've worked on in the past that we're like, we've now got an opportunity to really bring into the mainstream. It's our first official release on all major streaming platforms. We've got an opportunity to really craft a product that we're immensely proud of based on nostalgia, working together for years. We've got to put that one in. Can't leave that one out. So you've got to kind of find your balance. And then bringing in talent like Wally, whose ability to craft a unique flow with his bass. I've never worked with a bassist that actually put so much identity into a song And you're talking, you work with bands that like to just make a lot of noise, and you're talking just you're going to hit the root note, you're just going to kind of stay on it, you're going to thicken it and make it as heavy as possible. But a bassist like Wally, who just wants to, the bass and him are kind of like they are one person, and you watch him play and you're like, you are loving everything you're doing on this song, and it gives it such identity. So bringing it all together with someone with the musical talent and the producer's ear that the Wolf's got, it's such a joy to be able to say, right, we need to get these 5 songs done. We're going to give ourselves 6 weeks. We're going to get it done. We're going to work one track at a time. We're not going to rush, but we want to get this done. It really puts a fire under you to want it to be the best it can be. So naturally, people that work well together, and let's be honest, Dan, we've all been in bands where you've not gelled. There's always an ego going somewhere. There's always someone, no, that needs to be louder. We're all adult men who say we want the song to be what it needs to be. Okay, let's make music that we can put our hand out and say, we're so proud of this. Let's get it done. It's been an absolute joy from the inception, I suppose, which was years ago. We've only really been a band since September 2025, when we got out of the room and brought in G and brought in Wally, and it's really we're real fresh. We're very new to this.
Were all 5 of these songs already written, and they were just being fleshed out when the 4 of you got together?
I would say that 3 of them were reworked songs that we've used. I mean, the Wolf's written, I'll be honest, I think he's probably written thousands of songs. And there's always been a few standouts for me that's like, I love that more than anything, but we've never done anything with that. Now we've got an opportunity. We should really do something with that. So songs like Zodiac, which are brand new, that have never been written. You're in a room with the Wolf. He's like, I'm thinking about this as a riff. And we've always worked really well together. It's not so much 2 people trying to write a song. It's 2 people who love what they do so much that it just happens. 9 times out of 10, he'll write most of the songs he writes on an acoustic guitar because he's just picked it up and he's just playing something that if I'm in the room with him, I'll say, that's absolutely beautiful. Let's develop that. And that's where Zodiac came from. The whole thing happened organically because that riff led to him playing that riff, led to him playing that riff. And it all comes together at the end. It's special because it's working with someone that can play the bass, can play the guitar, can play the drums, can play piano. I don't know, put a flute in his hand, he'd probably smash it. I don't know. I never have yet, but that's something to find out. Next time we talk, I'll find out if Ben Wolf can play the flute. Okay, I've never asked him, but I'll find out. But bringing them together for a purpose. We're going to release our first EP on all major streams. We're going to get it out there. We want to create a buzz. We want to do this. You just want the songs to be the best they can be.
Can you give the listeners some of the sort of themes of the songs in the EP, just a sort of very basic breakdown of where your head's been at when you've been writing these songs, what you put down on paper, because you were saying how important it is that you can get your ideas out there. What have they been on this EP?
Absolutely. So we're talking about as open as I can be with words. I've always considered lyric writing as a form of therapy, because being able to, I mean, a lot of people journal or diarise their thoughts, but actually putting how you're feeling into words. I'm not one of those singers that can just, like, say, Jonathan Davis from Korn would open his heart and just, it would all come spilling out, because there's a lot of darkness in the man's life. I don't have a lot of darkness to draw on for a heavier sound. So it's more about the themes that we find within the world, concept of how absolutely out of control, insane planet Earth is currently. You're kind of looking at that as a way of like, how am I feeling about that? So you write something like, The Wreck of Us, about, you're just in the world, everything's gone wrong for you. It's like the concept of just, even at its most basic, like love can take so many different directions these days that you just think, what is, it's chaos. Anything you get into can be, it can almost drive you insane to the point of, I don't know what's happening. People are out of control. The world's gone mental. How does that make me feel? So it's more looking at the world as it just keeps on spinning, and everyone's got very comfortable being uncomfortable at the moment, and reflecting on that and writing it down. How am I seeing that? Okay, so I'm trying to think. You see a lot of crime at the moment, so I'm thinking, right, what does it take to really cross that line? Hence Zodiac being about, getting into the mind of a killer, that kind of thing. And you're thinking, right, let's write that. Let's create some beautiful poetry about some very, very strange concepts, and then sing about it as a catharsis and a way to actually express that, this is how I'm coping. I'm coping with the insanity I see around me by putting it into a lyric and putting it into a song. And a Bloodwoolf love song like Wreck of Us is still going to be a real, it's going to create a mosh pit. It's not a ballad, but it's our version of pouring that emotion that you're feeling. It's a very deep feeling. I want to get it out there, and I'm going to do that with my voice and through this song. The world is a very strange place.
What have you learnt about each other during the process? Because you're now recording your second EP. So what have you learnt and what have you changed from the way you recorded the first one to now?
The first thing I'm going to say is that because of the time and the craftsmanship and the dedication needed to do an EP, we've actually discussed it amongst ourselves, and we've decided to change our approach, and we're going to drop some singles instead. We're going to go with a campaign, we're going to launch it, we're going to plan it, we're going to promote it, we're going to get a song out there to launch phase 2. Then we're going to back that up potentially 6 weeks later with another single. And we're going to create momentum that way by saying, right, this is us as we are now. Get used to this. It's going to be a lyric video, there's going to be a music video, there's going to be some promo, etc., etc. And then by the time everyone's absorbed that, we're out again with a new one. So what we've actually learned, and working with someone like G, who's been, he's been in so many different bands, he's been out there, he's toured, he's done all sorts of things. So he knows the behind the scenes stuff in a way that me and the Wolf, who've been in a room together for 12 years like two hermits, are now out there with very little idea about how to actually promote what you love so much. And we're learning all the time. But having someone like G who can say, right, this is what I think we should do because historically it works. So we're like, you know what, fair play, we'll do that. So that's, I suppose, to answer your question, that's really changed in the way that we're like, right, we're going to get our favourite 5 songs that we've got in our catalogue right now, going to get them polished and out there. And now with the luxury of being able to say, we'll just see what happens now. Let's work on this one. I love this song. Let's do this song. And it's like, right, yeah, I love this song too. Let's come together. Let's bring the Wolf's heart, soul and mind together to create this absolutely really life-affirming piece of music that we can all get stuck into, get our teeth into, get really, really get the layers on it, get my vocals right, get my harmonies right, etc., 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 and then just throw it out there with a mind to then follow it up quite quickly with something equally, inspiring that we're proud of, and keep it going that way. So yeah, we've learned a lot. Using the fact that I do love it when you see a band who've got a product out there. They've got a CD still. I even saw a band recently that's got some cassettes for sale, that kind of thing, and bands that do their own vinyl. In the world of people having instant access to everything, the streaming giants they're so helpful for a new band, but it's still so nice to be able to say, right, this one we're going to actually do a physical copy. We're going to get something that I can hand to someone and say, this is what we've done. That kind of thing's very inspiring still, especially for us who cut our teeth in the 90s, when you had to have a tape or you had to have a CD because there was nothing else. MySpace wasn't exactly a streaming platform. You could upload some stuff, but it was, you had to create it and sell it to the world before you could just upload. Dear DistroKid, please distribute us across the entire planet. Thank you very much. And they do. And it's remarkable. But there's something even more wonderful about having a physical copy. So that's part of our next plan. We're going to look down that avenue.
What's your favourite song on the EP and why?
I think my favourite song... that's a horrible question, because I was almost going to answer it.
It's the pick your favourite child question.
It really is, because I was almost about to answer it, and then all 4 of the other songs went, what about us? We're important too. Every song on it is my favourite song I've sung at that point in time, and I care so deeply about them. But I'm going to go with Wreck of Us, because every time I hear it, and I play our music quite a lot because that's who I am. I enjoy listening to it because I think for the first time ever, you talk about bad production. I talk about how far we've come as a band now that you put it on and it sounds good. You know, it's been polished, it's been mastered. It's wonderful. So Wreck of Us has gone through so many different versions throughout my life. And the first time I wrote it was during a very, very bad time in a relationship. I didn't know how to kind of process how I was feeling in that relationship. And then the Wolf handed me a song and instantly, it's almost like it was musical therapy for me. That song came out of me and actually helped let me cope for a moment by actually saying, you know what, it's been bad, but it's bad enough for me to have created this as a form of catharsis and pour your heart out into it. And every time I sing it, I feel myself feeling a little bit more proud of where I am now compared to where I was then. You know, as a man of the world, as a single man, as a father, as an employee, as a son, as a brother, and as a friend. It's a journey. My narrative arc is very interesting, but that song always reminds me of bad times and the better times to come.
I'm glad you picked that one because that's the one I picked. And I pretty much wrote because I can hear that that's one of your relationship songs, and I've always felt you write brilliant relationship lyrics.
I think when you write words from the heart rather than words from the brain, or words about maybe a sense like pain or hatred or, you know, rage, that kind of thing, it's a different form of expression than if you write about love. If love's gone wrong, if love's gone right, it can be more beautiful than writing about pain. Depends who you're listening to.
So we'll move on to social media. You rejoined Facebook for the band page. How are you feeling about being back on social media? I know your main reason for being there is to utilise it for band promotion and things, but you've always had this sort of love-hate thing with social media, haven't you?
I've got to be honest, that is a really in-depth question to ask someone because you can only tell the truth. So I'm going to have to tell you the truth and say that I find the minefield of social media quite debilitating to my mental health because I don't know what I'm going to be. You write something, here is something, and you get a couple of likes. Then you put something completely innocuous down and you get 45 likes and it's the highest streaming thing you've posted. There's no algorithm to people's tastes when it comes to what you are presenting them with. I find Facebook quite a fascinating place to avoid because there are so many things that you start off with a simple, you know, this is my day. Someone makes a comment. Oh, look, suddenly there's 45 comments and we're at war with each other. And most of these people have never met each other. They don't, etc. They're never going to meet. But they're yelling at each other in caps lock on social media. So I can see it for its benefits as a musician promoting his product. All for that. And it's a wonderful tool to be able to upload videos, photos. This is what we're doing this year, and it'll be brilliant for the next campaign because we'll be able to actually plan around using it for what it should be used at. But I really, really don't think it's used for that for most people. I think it's a hatred tool. I think it's just almost like a weapon sometimes. And used right, everything has its benefit in the world. But for those people that disagree with the concepts or the ideology of that, there'll always be people that love it. Weirdly, I had a conversation today about Shakespeare. Now, I love Shakespeare so much that I don't think there's anything that can come close to it. Now, is Shakespeare universally liked, or would you say that it's got its detractors, hasn't it? So you think for every person that brings it to their actual soul and embraces it, there are a million people that would rather never, ever, ever even pick up the book, let alone read it. I think that's the same thing about social media. Some people love it, some people hate it.
You've almost summed up social media by giving the Shakespeare comparison, because it depends on the reason you're reading it or using it.
100%. And if I'm getting an enormous... Using the Bloodwoolf, Facebook page as this, I'm going to share something that means something to me. I care about it immensely. I'm not sitting there in real time hoping people like it because I want them to come on this journey with me for the likes and the ticks. I'm incredibly proud of what we do. I'm putting it out there because I'm incredibly proud of it. I don't feel like I have to create content because that's what I need to do now that I'm part of the Facebook and the social media world. And if anything, I find Instagram a little bit more user-friendly because it's a much more visual concept. The problem here, Dan, is that I don't know how to use it yet because I've only just kind of got back into it. So I'm learning all the time. And anything used well has a benefit. You use it wrong, it has no benefit.
There's a clip on Instagram of the band playing the Colchester Arts Centre gig, which you mentioned before.
Oh, what a night.
Have you thought about putting a full song up on YouTube? Because at the moment your YouTube just has the 5 tracks from the EP.
It does. And again, this is where being a relatively new band with inexperienced in the world of social networking would be very, very, I'd be comfortable saying that. Everything I want to do for this band and everything the Wolf wants to do and Wally and G wants to do, we will do. We're just learning how to do it at this point as we start to kind of spread ourselves. We're like, right, this is what's happening now. This is going up. This is going on. It's why bands have people for this, yeah? Yeah, you've got a PR crew. You don't have to worry about your social because you've got people to do that. And when it's the 4 of us, and it's like, has anyone got any content? Well, let's put this up. Let's do this. Now that you asked earlier about how we're developing the next phase and what we've learned from the first one, that's a huge part of it. We've learned that we can't just wait until Friday night and go, all right, how's everyone doing? You've got to have content that matters to you in order to actually be able to say, here you are, friends and followers, this is what we're doing. Otherwise, you just might as well just say hello. Just type hello. Who's going to write back, hi? I've never seen it done. I've never seen any band just go, all right.
All right, let's talk about live shows. You played your debut show in Colchester Arts Centre, which is a pretty respected venue for a first show, but you have given the background as to why you played that now. How was the show? When
someone says to you, and it's been maybe 25 years since you played it, when someone says, would you like to play the Colchester Arts Centre, the wave of nostalgia that hits you is almost like a gift. It's like someone, here's a gift. Thank you. That's really nice. I love this gift. It's not just the venue that I've seen some of my favourite bands play. I've played there so many times with established acts. There's something about the acoustics in an old, solid church that just works for metal. I don't know what it is, but it just does. So anything heavy just sounds wonderful in that venue. Getting it together to play, and we've got, we're opening the show, you're first on. I was a little bit concerned about my health at that point, so it inspired a much more rigorous health campaign. Wanted to lose some weight, wanted to get back into shape, which has been a benefit because I suppose in some ways it's the same thing as like someone training for a Olympic event. You know, unless you put the time in, you're going to maybe not be at your best. So you want to step up for this. And that gig was just one of the most wonderful experiences I've ever had on stage. And I think because I am who I am now, and it's the first time performing, knowing that I've got children now, they've got dependents. I'm a different person. I'm an adult man. I'm on stage. I'm still rocking out. I'm still inspiring a mosh pit. I'm still bouncing around. But in a completely different mindset than I've ever done it. There was something really, really genuinely magical about that feeling. And what it did to us all 4 of us, it's absolutely ruined us to want to play any normal venue again. So it's just like, you start there and then you've got to say, right, the next gig is, well, where's the Calibre? I want to play there again, but it's very hard for a band who's just started to make an impact and say, here we are, we've got the electronic press kit, we've approached plenty of venues. No one's invited us to play their venue yet. Okay, so it's like, our first gig was such a wonderful, life-affirming experience. We can't get a second gig at the moment. And that's very frustrating for any new band that really is hungry to get out there. I want to play festivals. I want to play big stages. I want to do all that. I can't get us booked anywhere at the moment.
So, the final question. What music are you listening to at the moment that people may not be aware of and should take some time to check out?
It's a fantastic opportunity to just list all these bands that I'm finding. There's a night in my calendar every Friday. I have music appreciation night. My kids have finished school. Everyone's ready for the weekend. They're going to watch whatever brain rot they're watching on YouTube. My son's going to video game. My daughter's going to just tune in, etc. Headphones on. What's my Friday release radar? There is some absolute gold out there at the moment. I'm really, really enjoying a band called Fearsome, whose debut came out, and oddly, in a reverse way, they had never gigged at all, but they released this fantastic album, really accessible, really hard-driven, fantastic noise they're making, really quite aggressive, but in a very accessible way. And they'd never gigged. And then down the line, after their album's out and they've got the buzz, they had their first gig. And I just thought, well done, lads. That's a really good plan. We did it a little bit differently, but it's like that really, I really recognised that was a great idea. So Fearsome are fantastic. I've got to say, there's so many new bands that I'm just finding now that have already been quite established. For example, Wally, my bassist, is introducing me to Port Noir, and I have just found them with their most recent album, and apparently I've missed about 6 albums. So this is what I'm looking at. So I'm going backwards now. So I'm like, have you heard this? It's excellent. So yeah, they've been around. And I'm like, oh, I've just found them. That's fantastic. But I could say the same about Opeth. I've been listening to Blackwater Park for about 3 months now, and just thinking every time I hear The Drapery Falls by Opeth, I just realise I'm in the presence of genius. And it blows me away. Dayseeker are making a wonderful noise, but I've got to say that there is an awful lot of layering in modern music now, where you think, if you strip it away, where's the song? Where's the riff? Where's the guitar? And where's the bass and the drums? The volume of additional factors on modern music now is making it a little difficult to know just, would that song work acoustically if it was just you and your guitarist playing it? I wouldn't know, because I can hear so many things. It's so thick that it's hard to penetrate. So bands like Never Easy are doing it really organically. It's just a 3-piece. House of Protection, same thing. They're just making a very, very big noise without that mass production factor. You know, it sounds absolutely incredible. But then you think, what is it I'm listening to? I can't really focus on it. There's so many synths here. There's so many glitches. There's so much sound engineering going on that I sometimes feel like that masks what you're trying to actually say to the listener. Here's a wonderful song.
For people wishing to find out more about Bloodwoolf, they can be found on Instagram, Facebook. The EP at least is on YouTube, and there will be more, and on Bandcamp. The self-titled Bloodwoolf EP is available to stream on Bandcamp and on all streaming platforms. Ben, great to catch up. Good luck with the EP and future singles. I look forward to hearing more.
Dan, thank you so much for the opportunity. This has been excellent.